Hey, what's up, everybody? I've got a bit of a doozy for you from Microsoft today. If you recall, I talked about a feature that they announced back in May 2024 called Recall, which is basically it's a photographic memory of every single activity on your Windows devices, effectively recording every single thing that you do to train Copilot and allow you to have that so-called personalized experience with AI in an unprecedented way. Now, I did call it out as a data grab, but to be fair, their CEO highlighted that all of that data will remain on your device. So effectively, it's Edge AI, which is something that I support, of course. But I also warned, and indeed the cybersecurity community warned, that there'll be some serious security implications here if we're not careful. And surprise, surprise, a report pops up this morning that not only showcases how insecure this feature is, but the fact that it's easily hackable. This is basically a report that was published on Wired titled Microsoft Recall feature is even more hackable than you thought. A new discovery that the AI-enabled feature's historical data can be accessed even by hackers without administrator privileges only contributes to the growing sense that the feature is a dumpster fire. Ay, ay, ay. That doesn't sound good, does it? And the part that really I thought was really important for me to share with you, and I've got again the link in the description for you. Since Recall was first announced last month, the cybersecurity world has pointed out that if a hacker can install malicious software to gain a foothold on a target machine with the feature enabled, they can quickly gain access to the user's entire history stored by the function. And this is the issue that I always talk to you guys about. This weird obsession that you need as much data as possible to make AI work. And I always call this out because the reality is, yes, data is the engine of AI, but actually it's not good for the AI models if you feed it too much data. So it is literally about the quality, not the quantity. And the arguments, I suppose, where I conflict with these sort of companies and many other AI-based companies is the fact that they believe that we need as much data as possible. And I did say in this video up here that there seems to be a mission right now to go after your data in an unprecedented manner. And I think that's bad because firstly, it's your privacy. Nobody should have access to all of that data. Not to mention, and I did also explain on this video up here, that if you feed too much data to AI, you are increasing the chances of hallucinations. One very good example is that the one that I actually shared with you in a video that was published this morning. Now, that video was recorded 24 hours ago, where OpenAI's ChatGPT effectively believed that the Labour Party in the UK has won the general elections, which is scheduled for 4th of July. We are in June. Yeah, hallucinations. But everything that it said, it explained that the Labour Party was sort of on a lead, and basically the Conservative Party are doing really, really badly in the polls, and certain parties are doing this and that. All of that is actually accurate because what it did, it had access to all of the live poll data that is available on the web. But then it got confused thinking that, oh yeah, the Labour Party is ahead, therefore it won the general elections. So whilst it's not wrong in terms of the projections, because that's what everybody basically been talking about for the past year, and we kind of knew that Labour are going to win with a majority, but we haven't had the elections yet, but it's obviously got confused with that. Why? Because you gave it too much data. That data doesn't actually add any value to the AI, right? That's why I personally believe that if you actually provide AI with historic data, but as up to date as possible, then it's not going to be as confused, because then if you ask it, okay, who won the general election, it will say, oh, based on the data that I have up to whatever date, this person or this party has won the general elections. That makes more sense. But it's not very good. And I did highlight this in my previous videos, that AI is really bad at dealing with live data. This is the problem because it's unpredictable. Yeah. So AI in itself generates unpredictable outcomes. That's why it's AI. But it cannot handle dealing with unpredictable situations and respond accordingly. This is the problem that the AI community is actually facing, and we've been facing this for a very long time. So the answer that these companies seem to think is that, well, let's just feed it even more data. But I always argue, do you really think AI would be useful for you if it knows every single thing that you do? Imagine that. AI that knows every single email that you've written, every single message that you've written, every single blog post that you've read, every single movie that you've watched, every single web page that you visited, dodgy or normal, whichever, doesn't matter. I mean, that's creepy. And of course, it's quite invasive. But they try to convince you that you've got to allow them to do that because that will give you a better AI experience. I would argue it won't give you a better AI experience because, well, we've seen it that AI is not going to get any smarter, actually, with random data. AI effectively gets smarter if you give it the right data over time and training data over time, but more importantly, you improve the algorithms over time. Now, of course, I'm not saying that I am right, but based on the work that we're doing, that seems to work better. I always said in the past as well that if you want to reduce hallucinations and any kind of weird outcomes from your AI models, it's important to give it less data, less random data, and more relevant data to the task at hand or to the field that, in which that AI has been deployed in your project or business or whatever. That's really important. And I think really one issue that I don't feel is being talked enough about. I mean, more articles are being published recently about the cybersecurity elements of AI. And I think I really welcome that the Wired magazine actually decided to publish this really openly. And that's fantastic because we need to be aware of this. You need to be aware of this because Microsoft wants to give this to you. If you're a Windows user, effectively, that feature will be enabled by default. Now, I don't know how easy it would be for you to disable it. But as we've seen with the other companies and the other videos that I've talked about, where it seems that they're making it harder for you to opt out from this sort of activity. Granted, it stays on your device. And I know some of you actually made a comment that, because it's edge AI, maybe it's okay. Well, apparently it's not that safe. Yes, so that's a bit of a blunder for Microsoft. Let's see what they say. And going back to the ChatGPT thing, I just said that I tested it 24 hours ago to see what basically if the Sky News report that basically broke the news about ChatGPT stating that the Labour Party has won. I actually tested it just now. So that's 24 hours later. It still does the same thing. So OpenAI have not really dealt with this yet. We'll see. I'll keep you updated on that one. But this is really how misinformation looks like. This is what irresponsible AI looks like. And more importantly, this is what happens when you just try to collect random data, as much data as possible, feed your AI as much data as possible. Well, you get situations like this and indeed pretty much useless answers, despite the fact that the data is actually pretty good. So I hope this was helpful. Stay safe, enjoy your AI experience, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Peace.